No, I'm not exaggerating. That's not clickbait this week. It genuinely has been the driest March on record for many parts of northern and western Europe. Indeed, February was almost just as dry. Some areas have not seen more than 2 or 3 days of rain in the last 2 months, which is pretty crazy really when you consider northwest Europe is supposed to be wet. On the flip side, parts of Iberia and Italy have had the wettest March on record. So yeah, all the rain that we would normally be getting in the northwest is shifted further south. What that means for the ski industry is that it's been very dry across the board, very little snow from France all the way through to Austria. Anywhere north of the main Alpine barrier has seen no meaningful snow in the last 2 months. As such, many ski areas have had to shut early. Lots of places haven't managed to make it through to the Easter holidays, not least here in Evasion Mont Blanc. It's also been a bit above average temperatures for much of that time, which has of course exacerbated the problem. Italy and further south in the Alps Maritime, they have fared slightly better, so it's not misery all the way across the Alps, but yeah, anywhere across the northern margin of the Alpine barrier has been very dry and pretty warm. For much of the last 2 months, low pressure has been sat over Spain with high pressure sitting over the UK, which means here in the Alps we've had pretty much persistent easterly airflow, a dry continental air mass. Of course, there's no oceans to the east of us until you hit the Pacific, thousands of miles away. So yeah, basically, no precipitation. Occasionally, storms have spun up from the Mediterranean, so from the south and east. That's funneled moist air up the Aosta Valley, which again, occasionally some of that has made it over the Mont Blanc Massif. So here in Chamonix itself, we've fared slightly better than other parts of the Alps, but even so, the vast majority of that precipitation gets dumped on the south side, over in Cormier. Not much of it makes it into France. And that's why, in spite of the very snowy first half of the season, we had some pretty epic snowfalls in December and early January. Now, come end of March, many ski pistes have been green and brown. There's been grassy meadows, the snow's just completely gone. So it's very much been a season of 2 halves. But in spite of all that, it's still not over yet.
Whoa, no jumping!
As of this Sunday, the 6th of April, all of Evasion Mont Blanc is now closed except for Le Contamines. Indeed, most of it had already closed a week ago. Also, La Zouche in the Chamonix Valley is now closed as of the 6th as well. In theory, Brevant and Flagère and Le Tour are all open until the 13th, so they've got 1 more week. I really wouldn't be surprised if Brevant at the very least stays open another week longer to extend the season into the Easter holidays. They did last year. I'd hope they will again, because in spite of the lack of snow the last 2 months, they had plenty there to begin with, so there is still decent coverage up at Brevant and Flagère. And then of course we have Garmontet, which, as I said before, they should be open until the 4th of May, Star Wars Day. So we still have at least 4 weeks of lift surf skiing left here in the Chamonix Valley, but we're getting less and less available every week. It's definitely starting to feel more like beach season than ski season right now. Broadly speaking, the weather this week has been a carbon copy of last week. Dry, sunny, first thing in the morning, fair weather cloud building up through the day, chance of a light shower up in the massifs in the afternoon or early evening. The one difference being, surprisingly, we actually had a very brief snow shower all the way down to Chamonix on Wednesday. Of course, nothing lasted down in the valley, but there were actually some quite hefty showers. Some of the mountains were looking pretty plastered Thursday morning. Being showers, it was very hit and miss. Some mountains got nothing at all, Others actually got quite a sizable dump by the look of it. But then yeah, now we're back to the fair weather again. Fine clouds over the massif, but broadly speaking, glorious. As for the coming week, it's more of the same really. An omega blocking pattern has established itself with the jet stream, and when this occurs, it becomes really difficult to shift. You get big stubborn high pressures basically sitting in place, and it can last for weeks at a time. So certainly for the next week or two, we're expecting much more of the same. Dry, broadly speaking, warm, sunny weather, which is not great news if you wanted to come out and ski, but big good news if you like sunbathing and you like going to the beach. Freezing levels will temporarily come back down a little bit as the position of the high drags in colder Siberian air from the northeast, but ultimately it's going to stay pretty warm. Anytime you're out of the wind and in the sun, it's going to feel pretty toasty. And again, even with freezing levels dropping, they're dropping from an above average point to somewhere still broadly above average. I've not been up the mountains at all myself this week, other than a ski tour up to the end of the Argentière Glacier last Sunday. I'm too busy trying to earn a bit of money. Now that my knee's more mobile again, I can ski again, it means I can also lift heavy things. So I've been trying to cash in. A guy's got to eat, and YouTube sure as hell doesn't pay my bills. So I'm back labouring and doing odd jobs again. I've basically been treating YouTube like a full-time job this winter, just without full-time pay. And of course, that's not sustainable, so I've got to earn some money somewhere, somehow. If you do want to help with that, of course, say thank you for all the effort I put in. It takes many hours of editing and filming for every single snow report that I do, and you can contribute to my beer fund here. I'd be very much appreciated, but no obligation. My information will always be free to everybody who wants and needs it. But as not a huge amount has changed since this time last week, I don't actually need to be up the mountains to tell you what's going on. Little injury update for those of you who've been following along all this time. Turns out I broke my leg. Who knew? I've been running around, indeed even skiing for the last 2 months with a broken leg. Okay, granted it is only a very hairline fracture, but still, a break's a break. I also have the partial tear of my ACL as expected, pretty much exactly as expected. It's a much bigger tear than last time, but it's still only a partial tear. I've still got some ACL left. There's also some damage to the meniscus as well. I don't fully understand what it means. The report is in French and my French is very limited, but yeah, I get the gist of it. Some kind of meniscus fissure or whatever. And then of course, bruising on the bone as well, which was also to be expected. So yeah, finally got the results after over 2 months now since I did the injury, and I finally know what the damage was. And of course, there's nothing better for any kind of injury really, especially a joint injury, and a nice bit of cold water therapy. And this water is absolutely lush right now. So that's just about it for another week from the Alps. It's definitely starting to feel very summery, but there's still, like I say, nearly a month left of the ski season. I certainly hope to be up in the mountains skiing a bit more next week now that I've paid my rent. But for now at least, till next time.